Copper, he's our oldest one. He don't know me a damn thing. He's paid his dues. He wants to go lay down. He can go lay down. He does what he wants. Ain't that right? But you don't say the F word in our house, do we? Copper, what do you got? What do you got? What do you got? What do you got right there? Oh, he sees mommy. He's done. He's a mama's boy. But I got this one. He's my pain in the ass. No. No, not today. Not today, buddy. Okay. Now he's mad.
The 2021 GNCC season opened at full throttle, and to say who to expect atop of the box on any given race day may be the hardest to guess yet. Early charges by veterans like Adam McGill and Jared McClure have given old school hope, but the new generation is rolling as well. Cole Richardson and Hunter Hart have seen some early successes, while Josh Merritt and John Glada Jr. are opening eyes and staking claims to be the next wave coming. Up front, it's been all Bryson Neal and Walker Fowler slugging it out for the wins basically down to the wire. Who will come out on top today? Will there be a new winner, or will one take total control? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live is next.
Are you ready to go GNCC Racing?
Hello and welcome to America's premier off-road racing championship, the 2021 GNCC Series presented by Specialized and AMA National Championship. I'm Rodney Tomlin along with Mikey Wayne today as we'll bring you the call in round number 4 racing action, this FMF Camp Coker Bullet GNCC. And of course, with the name Camp Coker, you might recognize as one of the premier amateur motocross track from years gone by. Well, riders like Ricky Carmichael, Larry Ward, James Stewart, and many more cut their teeth here in these very soils on their way to stardom and greatness. Will someone cut their teeth here today? Will someone become a star? Riders like Hunter Hart, Josh Merritt, and of course the young John Glada chomping at the bit, trying to become a part of the force that is GNCC. Last year, Walker Fowler and Bryson Neal battled down to the wire for the big win here in South Carolina. Adam McGill finished in the number 3 spot. But here in 2021, with the momentum of the youngsters, we could see a whole different race up front. Walker Fowler and Bryson Neal are expected to be the key players today, but who's going to come out in third? Will we see another charge by Hunter Hart? Will we see a great ride by John Glada? Or will we see some great old school pressure coming in from riders like Adam McGill, Chris Forge, Jared McClure, and many, many more? And the one rider you can never count out for a win or for a podium is the Coal Train, Cole Richardson. Will the Coal Train get up to steam today? Well, that question and many more will be answered as we roll through this race day today, and many more questions are posed as we get set to start this race today, and one of those is, what is this Camp Coker Bullet GNCC track like? Let's check in with Jared Bolton to find out.
Thanks, guys. Oh, man, is it awesome to be back here at Camp Coker. This is a beautiful place for a motorcycle and ATV race, and that's why we keep coming back here. Not only is the facility itself awesome, but, man, the track is absolutely phenomenal. And this year, we've actually added in some new trail. The Morees, who own the property, they actually acquired about 200 additional acres, added onto the property here, and we've added in just under 3 miles of trail on that new property. It's going to be a little tighter. We cut out a little bit of it for the quads, but the bikes are running it. It's going to be basically like single track all the way around it. So the guys that are really, really good in that tight stuff, they've got an advantage this weekend. It's a little bit slower, a little bit tighter than this track's been in the past. Got to make things pretty interesting. I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. And boy, is this just a phenomenal race course. Little something for everyone, and yeah, I know I say that every week. But not only we got that tight stuff I mentioned, but there's some pretty fast trail out there as well. We do have a couple of fast field sections. Truly something for everyone here at Camp Coker.
Thanks, Jared. And it looks like the stage is set for another great battle here in South Carolina. Stick around. We've got more. Stick around. The start of today's race and more to come on RacerTV.
Rocky Mountain ATV MC, retailer, distributor, manufacturer, product developer, parts tester. This is what we do, but who we are is something much simpler. We're riders, like you. 100% employee owned and operated, a company built by riders, entirely for riders. Rocky Mountain ATV MC, get ready.
The directive: advance human performance beyond biological limitation.
Good afternoon to you once again, folks, as we welcome you here on RacerTV.com to this Society Hill and Camp Coker FMF Bullet GNCC as we get set to roll today. Of course, as we join ourselves down here on the starting line, opening ceremonies about to wrap up. One order of business before we get into the big business today, and that is the introduction of our riders and our starting lineup for this, the fourth round of America's premier off-road racing championship. Riders rolling to the line in accordance to points to the first 3 rounds of racing, and rolling to the line first today is a 6-time GNCC champion, riding aboard the number 1 from Rogers, Ohio, on the WFR GBC Tires Fly Racing Factory Backed Yamaha, Walker Fowler. To the line second today, he rides aboard the number 7 from Newfield, New York, a part of the new generation on the Hunter Hart Racing Maxxis Fly Racing Yamaha, Hunter Hart. Rolling to the line today, third in points aboard the number 2 from Bidwell, Ohio, on the B. Neal Motorsports CST Tires Hauser Racing Yamaha, Bryson Neal. Aboard the number 4 from Casca, Pennsylvania, on a JMR GBC Elka Moose Racing backed Honda, Jared the Sneaky Snake McClure. Rolling to the line fifth today, aboard the number 5 from Sunbury, Pennsylvania, a 75-time winner and 6-time GNCC champion on the Chris Borich Racing GBC Action Off-Road Flyer Racing back Suzuki, Chris Borich. Sixth in points aboard the number 712 from Waxhaw, New Jersey, North Carolina, on a Pierce Performance GBC Tires Fly Racing Yamaha, John Galata Jr. 741 from Myersville, Maryland, on an FTR Graphics Fly Racing 9.2 goggles Suzuki WW. He is 8th in points, riding aboard the number 8 from Akron, Ohio, on the Merritt Racing B&R Motorsports GBC backed Yamaha, Josh Merritt. He finished 3rd here 1 year ago aboard the 521 from Waverly, West Virginia, on an Over Tires Boost Racing Parts Unlimited Honda, the Gator, Adam McGill. 10th in points, riding aboard the number 3 from Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, on an Action Off-Road Kenda Teely Energy Racing Yamaha, the Coltrane Cole Richardson. Up next, aboard the number 13 out of Aurora, Ohio, a 27-year veteran of the XC1 Pro Class on a GBC Fly Racing HMF Factory Yamaha, Johnny G. Johnny Gallagher. The 703 from Petersburg, Indiana, last year's XC2 Pro-Am champion on an Action Off-Road Maxxis Emery Motorsports backed Honda, Austin Abney. Riding aboard the 701 from Ithaca, New York, on a custom Axis Gold Speed Hauser Racing Yamaha, Greg Covert. And last and certainly not least, aboard the number 406 from Windsor, New York, on a Feehan Racing GBC Fly Racing 9.2 Yamaha, Devin Feehan. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this, the FMF Camp Coker Bullet GNCC. And before we get the green flag waving, one more thing as you join with me, my friends, and let our DJ Judd know it's time to remove the meat. Our Monster Energy Activation Transport, the sound machine on the starting line, making its way off as we clear that first turn region for today's exciting battle of this, the Camp Coker Bullet GNCC. Nearly 200 riders dotting the starting line here today as the stage is set. Beautiful sunshiny skies, and hoping for this trend to continue as the temperatures heat up to near 80 degrees. Quite likely the warmest day of racing in 2021. As things heat up, we turn our attention to turn number 1, where Ricky Towery gets set to set the stage. 1 minute before things fire off here at Camp Coker. All attention turning to Ricky Towery as our next signal will be the dead engine call. And a 30-second signal before the start of this race today. Ricky checks the soil in the first turn. He says it's perfect. All systems are go. He checks his clock, and the blue flag is set to wave. And when it does, shut him down, shut him down, shut him down. It's time to go, my friends. And as the hush goes across the starting line here at Camp Coker, I got to ask you, South Carolina, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? You know something? I think we need to wake up a little bit. I don't know if you're ready, so you're going to have to convince me a little bit better than that. So I'm going to ask you one more time, South Carolina, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? Seconds. And row number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling at the FMF Camp Coker Bullet GNCC. Mad dash to turn number 1, and it is the number 1 Walker Fowler out front. Cole Richardson close in tow in the number 2 spot with a 5:21 of Adam McGill in the number 3 spot. XC2 Pro-Am coming up next. Nick Davidson, Trey Seifert, Charles Dunn, Grayson Eller, Christian Meyer, Ben Kowalewski, Bryce Barnett, Brandon Owens, Kenny Schick. Also Albert Jadosh, TJ Barrett. 10 seconds. Michael McAvoy, Kevin Yoho, Wyatt Wilkin, Dylan Walraven, Ronnie Rush, Anthony Herring, Curtis Ballsback, and Tanner Walker. Wow, that is a fight tight on the inside of that first turn, but it's all about the 4.51 of TJ Barrett from Morrisville, New York, on the Rick Snyder Racing Barrett Brothers Auto 9-9 design backed ride. Taking that early lead, Junior A 22 plus class, set and ready to roll next. 10 seconds. Caleb Edwards, Jacob Alwall, Chris Leak, Jeremy Ladon, Mick Rice, Alex Elioff, Noah Landis, Justin Collins, Bryson Mullahan, Colton Kashuda, Mitchell Edelview, Jay Shadron, Weston Scott, Braden Schick, Brad Inderwell, Jonathan Cryenbull, Cody Stewart, and Dustin West rounding the first turn, making that dash to turn number 2. 3:17, I believe, may have been Alex Elioff out of Valley City, Ohio, being our Motorsports TDR bags ride. But that one got closed up pretty quickly, too, at the same time. That A in 10 seconds. Big Papa P, Jeff Pickens, Brad Whitehead, Dirk DeCesar, Luke Reeves, Christopher Kirby, Matthew Silsby, Justin Lewicki, Cody Holcomb, Zachary Phillips, Josh Loudermilk, Michael Lancaster, and A.J. Coons. Rounding the first turn, it's a dogfight. It's going to be the 4.38 of Justin Lewicki from Clay City, Indiana, on the Clay City Pottery Motorsports Galaxy Cycle Adams Suspension backed ride. 10 seconds. Senior A 40 plus class, John Salsa, Brian Axline, Shane Worth, Joey Kugler, Brian Foltz, Nick Bruno, Chris Conklin, Todd Muscala, the Marlboro Man, and Brian Shaw. .828, Brian Shaw from Harrisville, Pennsylvania, Honda mounted right out front in this one. As we go to the college age 16 to 21-year-olds, Davis Brenton, Dalton Keys, Trey Redmond. 10 seconds. Ethan Meyer, Ramey Wilkinson, Braylon Secura, Alan Daniels, Dominic Stevens, Keaton Henderson, Wesley Wirtz, Alex Tiemann, Cody Sowinski, Jesse Parker, Chase Allison, Gavin McCormick, Zach Knight, Cody Forrester, Trenton Benskin, Corey Vanderliner, Caden Ryan, Cameron Davey, Steve Harrell, and James Galata. 908, Stephen Harrell from Elk Ridge, Maryland, Yamaha mounted ride, taking the early lead in this one. As we go next to Junior B 22 plus class, Corey Pancake, Nick May, Zachary DeNovo, Cody Bowles, Ryan Mazzella, also Robbie Rosenberger, Trevor Blanish. 10 seconds. Cody Ballsback, Justin Cutter, Dalton Lee, Shane McMillan, Eric Kroger, Matt No, Stephen Hainham, Levi Myers, Nicholas Blaney, William Wallace, Luke Lohan, Ethan Helbig, Trevor Sharp, and Henry Moore. .422 may have been Eric Kroger from Big Krog Performance, Hilltop Motorsports. We go to the Vet B30 Plus in 10 seconds. David Kite, Nathan Tickle, Jason Dillard, Ryan Simmons, Benjamin Jones, Ryan Oliveira, Luke Bender, Nick Miller, Jason Ellis, Mark Beatty, Lorinda Fernandez, Marico Valencia, David Nicely, Mike Rice, and Nicholas Kasmarski, Tim White, Ryan Lacroni, and Adam Dietrich. 424. Luke Bender from Sullivan, Ohio, grabbing the early lead. Senior B 40 plus class coming up next. 10 seconds. Scott Wilhelm, Steve Combs, Jason Limley, Richard Sievers, Ivo Pahalik, Michael Callahan, Joe Rusko, Bobby McCauley, Dave Ashby, Wesley Smith, Robert Stevens, and Richie McCauley. Senior B 40-plus class. Mercy, that sand's getting deep in and out of that first turn. It's 179. Jason Limley from Mount Morris, Pennsylvania on the Honda, grabbing the early lead as we go to our College B 16 to 21-year-olds in 10 seconds. Jacob Fleming, Paxton Dickerson, Seth Blake, Connor Brandt, Grant Miller, Ethan Fott, Colton Dobbs, Hayden Hunter, Kai Arbogast, Trey Burlew, Dylan Hawk, Bryson Harper, Tyler Davis, Jonathan Burnett, Donnie Abrams, Riley Salem, Garrett Merriweather, John Williams, Elder Michael Ella, Blake Bale, Jeremy Koger, Gavin Temple, Hunter Godsey. That might have been 377. Bryson Harper out of Caldwell, Ohio Pro Graphics back try, grabbing that early lead. Still got one on the start. Is that one done? I believe that one's done. So, all right, so he's done. That one's over. Start's over, my friends. And wow, folks, we got ourselves a well of a race already underway. Round number 4 action coming right at you. Stick around. GNCC Live continues after this.
Rocky Mountain ATV MC, retailer, distributor, manufacturer, product developer, parts tester. This is what we do, but who we are is something much simpler. We're riders, like you. 100% employee owned and operated, a company built by riders, entirely for riders.
So XC1 whole shot start. Everybody always says the same thing, man. You want a good start. I want a good start. The guy we don't want to see out front because there, Walker Fowler, out in front early in this one, but he had some company. Cole Richardson all over that rear wheel as our riders jockeying for position. And the Gator, the 521 of Adam McGill, right there in the thick of things. Got some company right behind him. But as we saw a moment ago, those top 3 riders able to put a little distance, a little gap between them and the rest of the pack, which I believe was Hunter Hart back in the number 4 spot. Taking a look at the XC2 class now. Class that Boy Talent runs deep. That championship is up for grabs. If this is your first race watching with us this year, we know Drew Landers as well as Austin Abney, your former, your champion from 2020, moving up into the XC1 class. So XC2, man, it is anybody's season at this point. Still tight racing, and looking to see how this one shakes up as we start getting into the thick of this 2021 season. A lot of guys want to be that XC2 champ, and a lot of big names out there fighting for it. So there you go. Specialized start recap for your XC1 and your XC2. And we're off and rolling here at Camp Coker. Believe we might be able to take a look here at our Yamaha track map, give you guys an idea of what they will face here today. Obviously, a track, we compare this one a lot to Florida for obvious reasons, the sand. I mean, that's the bottom line, the sand. But from way a lot of folks were talking this morning, varying opinions, but it was pretty muddy this morning as we came out here. There you go. There's a look at your Yamaha Racing track map, give you an idea of what these riders will face here today. And this one, without a doubt, gives you a little bit of everything. Of course, our featured spots on the track, the Monster Mile. May not be a full mile, but I can guarantee it's going to feel like one. And, of course, the FMF PowerPoint, always a fun section of the track as well. But what I was saying earlier, a lot of single section out there, a lot of single lanes. So it's going to be a tight race. Guys are really going to have to do what they can to build some gaps. As you get into lap traffic, bottlenecks were definitely a problem for our riders in the pro classes this morning, as well as the youth classes. They talked about the bottlenecks out there, and that can either make or break your day. As you guys know, You can find an opportunity there where you're able to make a pass when somebody's stuck behind the bottleneck, or maybe you're that guy that gets stuck and you get to watch your fellow riders rip right past you. As Rodney Tomlin rejoins us in the booth. And Rodney, not much has changed since you came from the starting line. Walker Fowler still out in front, but he's got company in Cole Richardson as Adam McGill. Fantastic start for him.
Well, one of my main observations so far right now as this race gets underway, I mentioned it, I heard you mentioning it, is the stuffiness. And
I'm sweating in the booth.
It's too hot for headphones. But no, wow, what a great race. And I'll tell you, the temperature is kind of indicating what we've got going on. And as far as this championship is concerned, with the push that Bryson Neal is trying to make with the hole that he dug himself in early with the mechanical issues there. I believe it was at round 2, if I'm not mistaken. And, of course, anyway, he sits back in third place in points, and he sees that gap growing ever so much more round by round. So his main mindset right now is to try to get up there and race with Walker Fowler. The only problem there is Walker Fowler has a completely different game plan. His game plan is stay as far away from not only Bryson Neal, but every other competitor on the track as possible, as he really tries to strengthen that lead here as we, I know this is weird to say, but as we start to head toward the midway section of the GNCC season.
It's wild.
I mean, this is round 4, and I guess, when you take a look at it, the bulk of it, these next 4 races coming up could be considered the midway swing of the championship itself, and that's going to get pretty interesting as far as the points battle is concerned. But so far through these first 3 rounds, now round 4, I mean, we have not been a bit disappointed in anything that has come our way. We have seen nothing but nonstop action, and I mean, we see it in our amateur classes. We're watching out the 4-mile marker right now. Look at that. I mean, that just goes to show you these guys, we're competitive all the way through the field. Nearly 200 riders strong again here this afternoon, so some big things going on as far as numbers. A huge youth ATV turnout this morning. Nearly 140 riders in the youth ATV class. That's double what it was 1 year ago. So ATV manufacturers, I hope you're recognizing the trend in the youth ATV market and what that leads to and is heading to as far as the market is concerned. Here we catch back up on our Yamaha Racing drone, the live drone action. That is Walker Fowler still out in point in that number 1 position, Mikey Waynes, and he's still got company back there. I believe is that still Cole Richardson back in that number 2 spot?
Yeah, that looks like Cole right there.
Yeah.
And McGill wasn't. I think that's probably McGill just peeked at the bottom of the screen right there.
Interesting point to ponder. Had a chance to stop by and talk with a few of these guys before, just prior to the guys headed out to the starting line. Adam McGill being one of those, and I went to Adam and I made the point and statement. I said, "Dude, you finished 3rd place here last year. Give me a reason why you can't win today." And he said, "Well, there's no reason I can't win." And I said, "And from what I understand, you just beat everybody straight up a couple of weeks ago, or a week or so ago, at an FTR." And he said, "Yes, I did. I mean, he beat Walker Fowler, beat Cole. I mean, he beat all the guys that were out there going at it, and it was some of the top names in off-road racing. And Adam McGill was the man that day." And I believe that Johnny Gallagher also had a pretty phenomenal day that day, and had some pretty phenomenal rides himself as of recently in some of the other rides. So hopefully we'll see some strides out of Johnny Gallagher today as well as we roll through this 7-mile marker now, Mikey Waynes. Looks like McGill's dropped off is still in that number 3 spot, I guess I should say.
Yeah, going into the FMF PowerPoint right there, and they'll look good right now. You gotta think with it as hot as it is out there and sticky. I mean, it's not just the heat; it's humid. These guys right now are like, I gotta feel pretty content right now. As long as that guy in front of me is not under my sights, I'm in good shape.
If you've been watching the national weather, you've seen the South has seen some pretty amazing storms. I've talked to my mother the last 3 nights. Are you getting any storms down there? You getting any? And now, Mom, and yesterday finally, I said, we finally did get a little bit of rain, and one small storm, I guess you could say, actually passed by. But Thursday, we skirted every storm that came through. It all went to our north. Got quite a bit of rain yesterday. Was in the pits talking with Walker Fowler, as I said, just prior to riders coming out, and he was in the process. He and Mark Notman were taking off the big mud guards that he had on his hand guards there, and he said I said, so were you expecting it to be muddy or what? He goes, yeah. He goes, we were expecting a lot of mud. He says, but I've been watching. He says, it looks
Walker
like,
hung up.
Uh-oh. Ooh, and nobody able to get by. That was a close one there. But tighten things back up. I'm sure the heart rate went beating a little faster. But nonetheless, as Walker said, he said, it boils down to this. Do I take the risk and get my hands wet and possibly muddy, or do my hands get hot? He says because in those mitts that they wear, your hands get really hot and they get really sweaty, and it creates blisters and things like that. So he says, I would rather opt to have wet gloves from water rather than be fighting the sweat all day. So he took the hand guards off, the mud guards off, I guess you could say, and good move, because looking at this course, we see some darker soils down there, which indicates some moisture in the dirt. But all in all, this racetrack is still pretty dry. Yeah,
it's from the looks of the youth riders this morning, you wouldn't know that. It looked muddy, and I thought we're in for a mudder, at least for the riders. Boy, look at the speed Walker Fowler on that. Jerome had trouble keeping up with him. But, by the time the AM race rolled around, I mean, those guys, your leaders were coming through. Gear looked clean, bikes looked clean. And so, things set up really well here as they got a few more turns to get through, and they'll come.
Like I see it going down by the road now. I didn't know how far, but man, it's such a great view from the Yamaha Racing live drone now as the yellow flag is waving, which indicates, slow down. It's checkpoint basically, and that's what those guys are doing. They're going through. They check in. Walker Fowler continuing to lead this from Mikey Waynes, and it appears to be Cole Richardson still in that number 2 spot with, again, Adam McGill back in the number 3 spot.
Taking a look at they got to go through was gnarly this morning. Matter of fact, right there before the finish, there was an old dead tree that was very thin, but it was creating such an obstacle. And I don't know if they cut it down or somebody hit it while I was on the podiums, but it's gone now. But nonetheless, it created for some wacky, bizarre battles for a lot of our novice classes this morning, as well as our youth classes, whether the tree was there or not. So that's something to kind of keep in the back of your head. For those watching at home, it is very rutted out. There's not a lot of places to go, and it looked to me like those guys, they get up into that berm and that sand, and boy, it was slow moving. So that could be a factor as this one wears on. But right now, Walker Fowler doing his Walker Fowler thing, and Cole Richardson saying, man, I think he's got, one podium this year. I believe in Florida he had the 3rd place, and I want to say that's the best Cole's done this year. And that's not what we expected out of Cole this season. That is not what Cole expected out of himself. As a matter of fact, the podium he got in Florida, I don't really feel like I earned this podium. So Cole is definitely out there looking for a little redemption today, and McGill as well. I mean, there's another guy that you throw in the mix that you expect to see him make some podiums, and so far so good.
Fowler out front, Richardson right on his rear wheels. We also have on his rear wheels Adam McGill, Hunter Hart checking in. Nikki Snake back in the number 5 spot. That's a good place for Jared to be in right now. 406. Devin Feehan is 6. Wesley Wolf, WW, in that 7th place position. Josh Merritt in 8th. And again, for the Wesley Wolf fans, if you don't know, he is an AMA Pro ATV motocrosser. He's done both sports and, kind of both, and really didn't have a chance to train for either one specifically, so he's elected to train specifically for moto this year and use the GNCC as kind of an endurance builder for himself, and it seems to be working out pretty well for him because, honestly, since he's taken that weight off his shoulders, he's had some pretty consistent runs. I think maybe the last race, things might have went a little awry for him, but some good starts and good in the beginning of the race, and right now running in a top 7 position, which is a pretty deep field to be
primarily on, and he's got the podium at ATV motocross, so it's working out for him.
Yeah, and by the way, those guys go back to racing down near Houston, Texas, 3 Palms Action Sports Park, I think the weekend of the 10th, so not next weekend, I believe. I was thinking that for some reason. Anyway, it's next weekend. Easter is, so it'll be the week after Easter. So this
is the one we've got 2 weekends in between the GNCC.
And we'll be back to South Carolina, back over to the Big Buck property where we'll be running the Tiger Run GNCC. Yep. And you think, again, we're going back to it's going to be no, it's not going to be the same. I imagine that place, you won't even feel like you're at the same place when this one goes.
It's interesting you say that. Speaking of South Carolina, obviously that's where we're at right now. waiting on our internet to be nice to us here. So if you're at home and we're cutting out, we apologize. We're experiencing the same thing, but we'll get it dialed. This is one of those places here at Camp Coker that in years past, the attendance was good but never great. This year seems to be the opposite. I mean, I have never, as far as pre-registered riders, the amount of spectators, I don't think we've, like us, you raced it like the guys out on the track, or you just came to have fun. As you look at it,
wow,
there is a reason it has grown so much. I mean, this is the place to be. Kentucky on. You're in the mountains. It's all winding roads. It takes forever to get here, but I promise you, if you've put it off, if you're at home right now watching, make the trip next year because this place is incredible.
And, you know, we call it Camp Coker, iconic in the name itself because of the moto track, but you look around the ponds and things of that nature, just suggesting there's something that goes on here besides motorsports. And, of course, with that, we know that there's more that goes on here, and it's a sportsman preserve. And with it being a sportsman preserve, what do you mean by that, Rodney? Well, if you're into the shooting, sporting clays, duck hunting, and things like that, this is the perfect place to come. Hank and Henry Marie, the family, own a lot of land here. They basically cut their teeth. Hank did. I mean, if you know anything about the sport of motocross, Hank was one of the first Kawasaki KX60 riders, not 65, KX60 riders in history. That happened so many years ago, and he cut his teeth here on this track. He has a supercross track that he practiced on here in this soil. Larry Ward came here, Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart, a lot, Travis Pastrana. A lot of guys cut their teeth in these soils as far as the moto track is concerned. Now it's a sportsman's preserve where a lot of families come and they create memories like that. We have the fishing tournaments, Brown's RV Superstore here with us this weekend. They've got a great display out front of the TV trailer, and they're hosting the big kids and little kids, so 12 and over and 11 and under.
I know even our own RacerTV guys, Griff was talking about it this morning. He's like, we got a strategy. We got to figure this thing out. We want to win it. Put that trophy on display.
Well, I know they've been tonight, and the fishing that they've been doing on the side. It's a wonder we got a racetrack here this week.
We do.
This is a great place, and all of us here on the crew, being the sportsman-type individuals and the outdoorsy-type individual, if anybody knows about Jeff Russell, he is all about the fishing. So a race, they talked about Mike Holbert, who is one of the camera guys for NBC Sports, and they talked about him racing one of the Ronnie Paul Series races, and he actually died. I said, Jeff, you ought to go out and race the Ronnie Paul race. He goes, what'd you say? I did.
Whatever you do for a day job, to be out on the lake is even better.
No doubt. And